Welcome to the Temple of Flame. On today, Faithful Acolytes, we take a look at this. And what this is from Butterfly Bakery of Vermont, it is the Maple Chocolate Ghost. Hot choice. And so it's a most requested, I guess, sauce that I think is just more occasionally in rotation. I don't think it's one of the regular ones. There's a number of sauce companies, Butterfly being one of them, Yindo's being another, that will rotate limited edition stuff just by batches, I guess. And then they will have just the regular lineup of other sauces as well. So my feeling on that is, I think it's great in one respect because I'm glad the sauces exist at all and there's a specialness to them. But the more selfish side of me, when I happen to miss those sauces, is like, dagnabbit. So surprisingly, spicy sauce, that is very much the case. This is this one and the mustard cranberry are two of the hottest ghosty sauces I think I've had. Like that's the full tilt reminder that ghosties are indeed a super hot, and of course my favorite super hot. So I am delighted that there is that much care poured into sort of featuring the ghosties in that context. You know, a lot of people are like, Scorpion this, Reaper this, blah, blah, blah. The ghosties, I think, have a better flavor than any other super hot, and they are definitely far and away my favorites. So I'm pleased to see them still, you know, getting some love out there in these mean streets. So we've got sweet maple syrup, cocoa powder, and yes, blazingly hot ghost peppers, no question. So beans, poultry, and ice cream. Okay, so I don't love this on chicken. I think it's okay-ish on chicken. I have not tried it in beans. I could see that working extremely well. And bet your bottom dollar I will absolutely be attempting that at some future point with this. I kind of wish I would have saw that before I started coming up with the concept. This is going to be a very rangy video. I'll just say it. I'll just say it. I'll just put it out there. We're going to get a little wild and woolly and wacky with this one. You'll see. Oh yes, you will see. So calling it 5 out of 6 peppers. I will say this is probably hotter. This is another one that, like the mustard cranberry, is borderline chili head only. It is very, very punchy. All right, so we got the ghosties in the lead slot. Then white vinegar. We have maple syrup. And I am somewhat confident it's pure maple syrup. Cocoa powder and salt. Now, looking at this, you can maybe see where the line is here. This is, as you probably have observed by now, is just an exceptionally thick sauce. It is, I've had this sitting out because when you chill it, this just solidifies. It gets quite sludgy inside, and you can see, I mean, there you see it. I opened the cap, and it's pooping out all over my table. Which I can't say that I'm overly pleased with. So let's clean that up. All right, it's sifted back down, but this, like, Ever since I've opened it, it's done that, unless it's warmed up a little bit. This has been sitting out for a while to try to get some pourability to it, because otherwise, you remember the the old, a lot of you might not be young enough to remember this, but back in the 70s and 80s, ketchup generally came in glass bottles. So you'd have people holding it like yay, and then just banging the heel of their hand on the bottom to try to get it out. And I think that campaign, I vaguely remember it being around maybe the squeezable bottles that were starting to become all the rage. You can see, I mean, even now, even just sitting out as long as it is, then that is one of the things that you'll run across with sauces is chilling them will tend to thicken them up somewhat. Chilling them changes the complexion quite a bit, but I don't like to have my sauces at room temperature. And I don't care if that's the manufacturer's intent. I know smoke and egg curry does not feel like they need to be refrigerated. Although the labels of, I think, every single sauce I've ever had from both Pucker Butt and Smoke and Ed's lines have said to refrigerate after opening. But he's saying it's not necessary, which, fine, whatever. It doesn't, I don't think it makes a difference too much, depending on the sauce, of course. But for me, I prefer it to be chilled, and also, like, I chill everything that is a sauce like that. Like, I don't leave ketchup out. The only things I'll leave out are like honey and maple syrup, because those are very, very stable at temperature, like corn syrup and stuff. But the rest of everything else, like vinegar, all that stuff, it's all in my refrigerator taking up space, because I mentally cannot bring myself to leave it out. And part of that has to do with a friend of mine, when I went over to her house, and she had the shit just open, just sitting on some wire racks in the kitchen, and it was temperate at that time. Like, I think it was summer or fall. I mean, it was very, very warm, and half of the fucking bottle, like maybe from about the midpoint of the larger side all the way up the neck, was the foulest color I've ever seen in a sauce. And this was, by the way, a sort of cayenne-based sauce. So the, cayenne, vinegar, salt, and probably maybe xanthan gum and water. But for that to go south, for that to get spoiled, was something I still have not been able to quite comprehend. But after that, though, I was like, nope. I have never had a sauce personally of mine go bad after opening, but I also keep them in the refrigerator 100% of the time after opening. So to me, it's like, it's a good thing going. There's no reason to switch that up. But if you do throw it in the fridge, sometimes you'll get different complexities to the flavor, and it'll frequently thicken up a bit if it's on the thicker side, like this one is to begin with. So there is that as well. But to me, it's like I'm waiting for enough space to get in so I can agitate it. This one, by the way, very much defies a lot of agitation. It's I mean, you can see you've seen everything that's happened with this. Now look at it. Like, it's almost like it's it's almost like it's melted milk chocolate, and it's hardening in the spoon. And that's what it looks like to me. It looks like sort of melted milk chocolate. It's not quite as dark as a lot of moles I've seen, and I think you could actually use this sauce very well in a mole. I think that would be really, really good. So I definitely can see, like, the idea of beans. Well, not beans generally, like refrieds is kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know what Claire meant with that part, but I'm thinking refrieds. So I will be trying at least one of those three things though that were mentioned. But yeah, I mean it's pretty. It's a very, I think it's a good looking sauce. But like I said, it looks like melted milk chocolate to me. Okay, let's do the damn thing. I can smell the waves of ghosties coming off this. Just before I even get it up to my mouth, I could just like, wow, this is yeah. I mean they're present and accounted for. Very smooth. Very silky. But oh my golly goshkins. There is also a very considerable super hot punch to these as well. Now I got this thinking, well, chocolate. We all think of chocolate as something sweet, right? Not really the case here. This is, even with the maple syrup, is not particularly a sweet sauce. So, but I started thinking, hey, let's pair stuff with chocolate. Obviously, I've done a lot of spice with chocolate. There's candy bars, some fudges and stuff, all throughout this channel. And I thought, let's do a charcuterie board with chocolate. I don't really see that a lot. So we got prosciutto. Yes. Warm. A cube steak with blueberry Stilton. More blueberry Stilton. Gouda, cheddar, and baby bells. Oh. Wow. And we're going to try it all with this. Hopefully. We'll start with the baby bells. Ooh, that is punchy. One of the things about ghosts I like is that they're very intense. They get to whatever level they're going to get, and then they just stay there for a while. And that is the case right now. All right, here's a baby bell. You know what, might be easier. Whew. Let's throw it on like that. Like yay. I'm not convinced there's enough chocolate in the sauce for this to work. It is very forward on the ghosty side. A lot of super hot bitter in this. Wowzers. Try Gouda. So I think more I'm pairing super hot with this sort of charcuterie board. Lordy. All right, let's give the Gouda a whack here. I should cut this rind off. That's interfering with things. All right. Man, that's This is aged as well. Good amount of punch to it. Let me try to spread this out a little bit this time. I like the idea of this sauce. I wish a couple things. I wish it was thinner. It's quite nice on the Gouda. I think spreading it out is the way to go. It is still. Let my ass up here. All right, prosciutto. So the suggestion, I was looking around online, the suggestion was that a nice salty ham like a prosciutto would go well with chocolate. But again, I'm not really pairing chocolate so much as bitter super hot. Well, we'll try it. I have it. I'll do something with it. That is interesting. Let's have another. Man, I hate this packaging. Very thin prosciutto. What if we make a... Let's do this. Oh. It is not, despite appearances, it is very much not melted milk chocolate in here, in this spoon. Spoon of death. It's a fairly sustained fury. All right, prosciutto wrapped Gouda. I mean, it's not anywhere near blazing like a Reaper or anything like that. It is very much a ghost. But just like that mustard cranberry, it is very, very super hot forward. Very ghosty with the mosty forward. And you get a lot of bitter notes out of it. This is a quite bitter sauce. Now I like dark chocolate a lot. So I'm somewhat accustomed to the idea of bitter and chocolate together. I don't think this gets to chocolate. If you look at what goes into it, oh, lordy. If you look at what goes into an actual chocolate, there's usually quite a few things. And this one has, I guess, maybe two of them. The cocoa and a sugar. It's a maple syrup, so it's not quite a... Is this a good idea? Well. It's so thick, it's difficult to distribute it in a way that I would want. All right, we'll try the cube steak, the grilled cube steak with the blueberry Stilton. Because blue cheese was another of the things. I cheated and got Stilton. A blueberry Stilton. But blueberries and chocolate, of course, or berries and chocolate in general are a good thing to go together. Yeah. Well, I overcooked this. And I got hit by the microwave. I replaced the heat temp to my grill, and I should have cooked more garbage stuff on it to acclimate myself to the changes. One of those changes apparently is that the grill runs hotter now. There we go. It's interesting with the Stilton. I'm not sure how well it works with the beef. That is something I've been trying to figure out is, toying around with this is like, where does this go? I think it's an interesting sauce. It's quite unusual. This one for me might be more one I find a bit more interesting than good. Wish I went over for this thing. All right. That's enough of that. Oh, I should have tried the cheddar first. Medium cheddar. Oh, what a catch. Okay. Cheddar. This was at least decent on the prosciutto and the Gouda. Ew. Nope. All right, cheddar's no good. It's interesting with the Stilton. The Gouda and the prosciutto actually work fairly well with this. So, mixed bag for the old charcuterie board. Okay, and as promised, I need the spoon. Well, as promised, I said I would do one of the things on the label. That thing is going to be ice cream. How can I not? So, hang on a second and let me rearrange the space here and I will grab that ice cream. We'll be right back. Okay, and here we are with one of my favorite ice creams. It is the Red Button. This one is a chocolate chip cookie dough, which I don't normally, I like it just by itself. They don't usually add things to it, but I think in this case where it's actual chocolate chips, are they dark chocolate? Let's see. Chocolate chip cookie dough and chocolate chips on top of it. It is, they're calling it just a chocolate flake. I'm not quite sure what they definitely are on the darker side, but I don't know if they're flavor wise are hugely on that. As far as that goes, all right. So let's throw what is left in the spoon on here. And we'll throw a little bit more on here. I don't know that this is going to work. I am really, I could be shocked. You know, we keep an open mind here. With the different experiments I've tried over time, it's just all stuck up in that cap. This is so thick. It's like an amazingly thick sauce. That's almost never my preference, and you can see it's kind of clumping here. I'm going to go a little on the light side here because I really want to see what this does, and I don't want to spike all of the ice cream if I don't like it. All right, let's go with this one. It's interesting. I have felt, since I opened this, and I still feel now, that calling this like maple cocoa would have probably been a better representation. And I think what's happening here with this is the cocoa is being, like cocoa by itself is fairly bitter. The bitterness of the cocoa is being accentuated by the bitterness of the ghosties, of the super hots. And I think the expectation for chocolate is probably not being met here. So that does kind of leave me in, yeah, where does this go? What do I do with it? Even though I liked it more on the prosciutto and the Gouda, and I might make myself a Gouda sandwich with this, a Gouda and prosciutto sandwich with this, possibly. Even where I liked it better there, it isn't, like those aren't regular food staples. Like I don't normally just eat those things. So I'm just really conflicted on this sauce, I think. I like it to a degree. I like that the ghosties are there, but I guess the sauce that I really wanted would have been a little bit thinner and definitely would have been more chocolate. I think chocolate might be referring to the color here, possibly. You know, adding cocoa in it is a step, but for me, I think maybe this is the sauce that, I don't doubt this is the sauce she was trying to make. Like, she's very, very adept. I think for me, I would have liked it to be thinner. I would have liked it to be much, much sweeter. I think that's the one thing I can't get away from is that's what I spend a lot of time when I've used this sauce, even now to a degree, looking for where is the sweetness? You know, where's that actual chocolate flavor? And like the cocoa definitely colored this, but I don't know that it really is reading as, like I get hints of it here and there. Really, really interesting sauce. But it is, it just, I guess it's just not quite hitting with me to the degree a lot of the other ones from Butterfly have. I definitely appreciate the spirit of experimentalism here, though. And this certainly showcases the ghosties in a very, very interesting way. Had those other things been a part of this, though, like I think you'd borderline have a world beater at that point. If this was sweeter and somewhat thinner, yeah, that maybe I'll. I mean, I've got quite a bit left. Maybe I will tinker with it to see if I can find a way to sort of enhance it in a way that I would have more hoped, I guess. I do have maple syrup. I've got pure maple syrup. I could play with that a little bit, maybe. What I really wish is that I would have discovered this when I was in my brownie making phase, because I think this would be very, very fascinating in the dark chocolate brownies. I did a video on that if you're interested. But you could cut out all the chili crisp stuff I attempted to blend in with it and actually just use this sauce, and I think you would have a quite delightful batch of brownies. In fact, that I wonder if they actually use that at the bakery for the brownies, because that'd be a really, really interesting idea, because then you would have enough of the other stuff that I feel like is missing here. So I think there's uses for this, to be sure, but as far as by itself, it's one of those that I'm just really struggling with my palate as far as to where to fit it, I guess. And we'll leave it right there. So that was the Butterfly Bakery Maple Chocolate Ghost Hot Sauce. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.